Welcome back. I want to say from the disheartening in the sense of the previous story to the uplifting now. As Women's Month draws to a dazzling close, we bring you a story that's not just about breaking barriers, it's about building futures digitally and boldly. At the heart of this revolution is a powerhouse of innovation and leadership, Professor Pumela Msweli, the woman steering Africa's oldest business school into the future with 4IR, 5IR and fierce female brilliance. Under her visionary leadership, UNISA's Graduate School of Business Leadership just clinched the 2025 South African Leadership Award, and that's only the beginning. She's leading the charge into global recognition with AMBA accreditation said to be on the horizon. So let's talk to Professor Pumela Msweli, who is the Executive Dean and CEO of UNISA's School of Business Leadership. Good afternoon, Prof, and thank you for your time. Let's talk about some of the inroads that you are making in terms of women leadership in higher education, but in particular leading a business school that is producing a pipeline of female leaders. How do you frame for yourself, what does this work mean for you in terms of the contribution, as I say, to building a pipeline of women leaders, not only in this country, but being borderless as you are across the continent?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to you and to your listeners. Well, we are still beside ourselves with excitement. We have achieved the unachievable. We had this award from the BGA, an international accreditation body based in the UK, and we have been trying. We have been on this path for more than 20 years, and to actually achieve it on the 60th year, our 60th anniversary, is a phenomenal achievement. And this leading a business school as a woman, I think, is an encouragement to all South Africans, to all fellow Africans, that with the right value system, the right institutional support, the right business leadership support, we can all achieve the unachievable and raise diminish inequality and contribute to poverty alleviation with strengthening our intellectual sovereignty.
To what extent are you as a school intentional about being that perhaps go-to pipeline for women leadership in the corporate spaces? This is about executive education, right? So talk to us about whether or not you are intentional about ensuring that that executive education, you become the go-to point for women wanting to advance in that space.
Yes, thank you for that question, because I am pretty intentional about this. I'm intentional in the leadership space because we have women in leadership programs to strengthen the pipeline of women in leadership positions. I have a Future Professors program, and I have a track record of supervising specifically women doctoral students to completion. I have 3 professors out of the 23 doctoral students that have supervised to completion. One of the women that went through my supervision process is now a professor. So we are very intentional because the South African economy, all economies are made up of a strong preponderance of women. In fact, we almost are 2% proportion higher than our male counterparts. So to ensure that economies leverage on the strengths of women, we have to be intentional about developing women in the boardrooms, in the CEO suite, in the C-suite. So I am quite intentional.
What is the conversation happening about the fact that the product that, if I can call it that, the product you are advancing is quite pricey in terms of, you know, accessibility? Executive education doesn't come cheap, but in many instances, in conversations about women's advancement, there's always been this sense that it's almost as if women need to go the extra mile to just gain the same recognition that a man who may not have that executive education may easily access. How do you balance those two? Accessibility of the levels of education at which you operate, being executive education, but at the same time, this conversation about that being almost a written requirement that the woman in the boardroom needs to come in with something extra.
Okay, so firstly, we have opened our applications at the SBL for our master's and MBL programs together with our doctoral programs. Here's a way we've made education accessible financially, is to institute a system where there are 2 tracks. Instead of doing your MBA over 2 years, you can go into a pipeline or a track where the master's program is done over a longer period. This is to make sure that it's affordable. Secondly, our executive education programs are quite affordable. Maybe let me not go quickly there. Our master's programs are actually in the middle of the road in terms of prices compared to other business schools. Business schools, I think one of the competitive advantage we have, for the same quality, we're able to offer something slightly cheaper than other business schools in terms of price, not cheap literally.
Yeah.
And executive education, that's where we make our education accessible. And another way we make our education accessible is that we provide free webinars. We have engaged scholarship programs where we work with communities right at local community level. And that way our education is accessible. And we make ourselves accessible in terms of being keynote speakers in different platforms all over the country and all over Africa and the world.
All right. Prof, because of time, and I am pressed by another event that I need to go to, I have to leave it there. But I've got to thank you for this conversation. That's Professor Pumela Msweli, the Executive Dean and CEO of UNISA's School of Business Leadership. The reason why I needed to end right there is because that lecture that we've been telling you about, to be delivered by the ANC veteran, Dr. Naledi Pandor, is currently underway out in Acacia in Pretoria. Let's listen in.